Hi all, welcome back to Make More Bonsai, John here. Today we're going to jump right into the same Shimpaku Bonsai we worked on previously. Last time, we redirected energy to where we wanted in order to take control of the growth and set the foliage up for future refinement. That was an example of the mission statement of this show of sorts. Create great bonsai in 3 easy steps. 1. Know your tools. 2. Study the work of masters. 3. Make more bonsai. Namely, the know your tools part. The tool we used last time was a general understanding of hormones within the plant and how to use them to take control of the foliage growth. In this session, we are going to explore a different tool. We are going to use Cambium to change the dynamics of the design, namely make an interesting and attractive Shari and also fatten an area at the base of the tree. First, let's take a closer look at that tool. What is Cambium? There are 3 layers surrounding the core wood of the tree throughout. The outside layer is called phloem, the inside layer is called xylem, and between them is a layer called cambium. Xylem brings water and resources up through the tree. Phloem transports nutrients created through photosynthesis down through the tree. Cambium, which is between them, is the layer of cells that actively creates all of the things a tree needs, such as leaf buds, roots, new cells that contribute to the creation of fresh xylem and phloem. Cambium is also responsible for creating the callus tissue that forms over a wound of a tree. The cambium cells divide, leaving behind fresh xylem and pushing out fresh phloem. This thickens the tree year over year. When an area of a tree is wounded, cambium divides rapidly, creating a swollen area called a callus. That will seal and close the wound, leaving behind a thicker, more reinforced, distorted area around the healed over wound. This distortion can eventually be covered over and made invisible as the tree grows. This particular property of cambium is the tool we'll be using to enhance the Shari and trunk of this bonsai. Long ago, I was lucky enough to get to spend some time talking technique with one of America's greatest bonsai teachers of the time, John NACA. Here's a photo of him with a hungry for knowledge and profoundly poorly dressed goofball, aka a teenage version of me. I'll give you a sec to recover. It's fine, trust me, that's not even the most embarrassing pic of me that exists. He shared some valuable insights over that time that to this day I continue to reach back to for guidance. One of those was, you should try to make the lower third of the trunk of your bonsai as interesting as possible. Let's take that valuable lesson and apply it, empowered by the knowledge we have about the properties of cambium. The lower trunk of this bonsai is already kind of groovy. It has some curves that remind me of the leg of a horse, which gives it some organic movement. It also has some Shari that does enhance it, but it can be made even more interesting, giving this tree a more unique character and an enhanced story. The thing about creating Shari in bonsai is it involves removal of tissue. When you remove, you're reducing the size of the area. I want to accomplish the opposite. I want the Shari and the lower third of the trunk itself to be bigger and more textured. Tearing and carving is a reductive method, reducing the overall mass. That will not accomplish the goal of enlarging the area. I will be creating Shari using an additive method. You can already see some of the results in the upper portion of that curve. Using a sharp blade, small, precise incisions can be made along the path of the live vein. Make sure the blade penetrates deep into the cambium layer. These cuts can be as long as you like, but I try to limit the damage to about an inch or so. I leave them rough to closely imitate a more natural look and feel. This operation can be performed 2 to 3 times during the growing season, once in early spring, then again in early summer, and even again in late summer. By keeping the incision short, the tree has the chance to fully heal over before you return and make a new incision elsewhere, or build on the one you made previously. The callus tissue that is formed on such a rough cut will be distorted and textured. As time passes, the tissue will thicken and harden. This broken texture, when built upon, will be grown over as you continue to develop the area with fresh damage to force the cambium to heal. When the time comes to finally peel off the living tissue to reveal the enhanced Shari, there will already be a naturally rough texture that will have fissures in it, which will create a dark and light contrast around the area that an old Shari would have if created in nature. If you like what we're doing over here, go on over to Amazon and check out our book, Bonsai Progress. It's a wonderful little tracker, fits in your pocket or your toolbox. You can keep track of up to 27 different trees, 70 lines with dates. It makes for a great gift, probably the least expensive thing you'll find in the world of bonsai. So go on over there and check it out. And also, if you like what you're seeing, like and subscribe. Now back to the fun. The same method can also be used to thicken an area even if a Shari is not the desired outcome. The trunk on the lower right looks a bit thin. This tree would look better if that area was wider. In general, we want the bonsai to be wider at the base and taper as we move up the trunk. This inverse taper is fine. Really, it's okay, since so much is happening on the lower third anyways. But it's within our power to refine this section and make it better and more pleasing. Since we're already here and blade in hand, using the same technique of peeling off small sections and allowing them to heal over, the new tissue the Cambium creates will make that area wider and more proportional to the design. Let's remember, this is a grafted tree. The trunk is actually the San Jose juniper, while the foliage is Shimpaku. San Jose have a fast metabolism and tissue that grows and swells rapidly. The Shari work will heal and develop much faster due to the high metabolism rate of the San Jose juniper. If this were an ungrafted Shimpaku, it would take longer because the metabolism of the Shimpaku is a bit slower than the San Jose. This technique will take time. Maybe 5 years to reach a point in which peeling back the live tissue to reveal the texture beneath will have an impact. But hey, this is bonsai. It's kind of part of the experience, you know? We're also developing the foliage over time as well, so most likely these goals will all be reached within a similar time frame. This method can also be performed on very young juniper bonsai stock. By creating these inch or so long incisions 2 to 3 times a year while the plant is still developing, you are accelerating the thickening of the base of the trunk and building into the bonsai stock the potential for some really awesome looking Shari. I don't plan to do much with these trees except let them grow. Maybe in a few years some styling will be done. Let's make the best use of that time by enhancing their potential by making a few incisions along the thin trunks. They will heal over and distort and age with every passing season. When they're this young, you could even create longer strips along the trunk. Let your imagination guide the design, but always be sure not to endanger the overall health of the tree. This stuff we're doing with the young bonsai stock is kind of something one can do on a relaxing morning while enjoying a cup of coffee or catching up with friends. It takes mere minutes to perform, but the rewards it yields will be well worth the effort. Phew! We covered a lot this time. I really hope you can find the opportunity to experiment with this method for yourself and have some great and satisfying results with this additional tool in your bonsai toolbox. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here, please don't forget to like, comment, because I love to hear from you, and of course subscribe.